Well, we had started Flickr because the front-end technology for the game had gotten far ahead of the back-end technology, and it was late 2003, very difficult to raise money. The company was running out of money, and we didn't know what we were going to do, so we launched Flickr as a side project to see how that would do. That first version of Flickr was very, very different than what you see today. It was all based on the game technology, so it was real-time. People could send messages back and forth and drag and drop photos around, cause the photos to appear on the other person's screen. And it was very cool and interesting, but ultimately not that, it didn't catch on because the chances that someone who you actually cared about would be online.
Why you decide to take out the online chat and the online comments on the photos on real time?
Well, the biggest reason was, as I said, it was based on the game technology. I mean, showing this photograph that someone uploaded of a flower on Flickr could be considered a violation of their copyright. When I say could be, it's because copyright laws is. However, you have to put it in perspective. Those deals, AOL and MySpace, are a very small piece of the overall advertising pie, and there's, you know, it's still very early days. I mean, you might make an analogy to radio in 1919 or something like that, where things are just starting to take off. I don't know what the ratio is in Spain. I was actually just talking about this with some people last night. But in the US, internet advertising is so small than outdoor advertising, so billboards and other things. And obviously, a small fraction of print advertising is an even smaller fraction of broadcast television advertising. In fact, about 6% of advertising dollars in the US are online, so 94% aren't. And of that 6% that are, actually I don't know the answer, but I think around 50% are search-based advertising, as opposed to branded advertising, banners and things like that. So I think that there's no hegemony. We're still very early in that game, but I think there's still a lot of opportunity for things to evolve. And when maybe it's better to ask that question again in 10 years or so, 20 years, and we'll see.
Companies doing money with services around Twitter. Are you planning to ask part of this money?
Portuguese, very simple.
I hope so.
Yeah, this is something we've actually just started the sort of foundational work for recently, and sometime next year. We don't have a date yet, but one of the interesting things from our perspective is, obviously we want, when you look at an average Flickr page, you know, we need to translate each of these words in Spanish, which is pretty trivial, and so is a system for managing. So it wouldn't just be Spanish, it would be Spanish, German, French, Korean, probably Portuguese, maybe Italian, and Chinese. And the system for managing that is slightly more complicated. We actually did the calculation recently. There's 60,000 lines of, 60,000 words on Flickr that require translations. It's a lot of text. Many websites are much simpler than that, but there's a lot of user interface in Flickr. I mean, the examples that I gave today only just start to touch on all of those. So that's complicated to handle. But actually, the much harder part, and what takes longer, is a lot of the customer support and more specifically community support.
You work with advertising in Flickr or not?
Yeah.
You do it?
Yeah.
So you think...
Me personally? Or
no. Yeah. You're Flickr, the portal. And it's a business at this moment, can you say it? Or it's not a business like YouTube? It's not a business, but they were bought...
No, we're doing everything.
So it's rentable, or it works enough?
Yeah, it works. I mean, we're still experimenting to find the right balance. We don't want to have, you know, a big banner at the top of the page that says refinance.
You make it more soft, more...
We don't want mortgage ads.
Yes.
But we do work with a smaller number of advertising partners, a little bit more intimate. So Nikon is one, Nokia is another, a little bit more coming along.
Because the advertisers sometimes, you know, they're angry because they think the communities can criticize them and all these things. So that's always the problem here in Europe. I think in the States you are more open-minded, but here in Europe the people are more like this, no? So what can you say then, these advertisers?
It's an interesting moment, I think, for a lot of these advertisers, because there's the opportunity, I think, and this is what Flickr did as a business itself, was really empower empower people who already like the product to express that. So an example is Nikon. Nikon sponsored a bunch of stuff and asked people to submit photos to Nikon's then gallery. We had about 50,000 photos that people had submitted voluntarily to be used in advertising. And that was a great opportunity. Now, it might be that some Canon user criticizes them, but the upside of that outweighs the cost.
You are in San Francisco area, or your Flickr is in
San Francisco?
Yes, because I was last month. I was seeing Yahoo, I was seeing Google, I was seeing YouTube. I didn't know where is Flickr, which city? San Mateo, San Bruno?
Well, we were in the Yahoo headquarters in Santa Clara, but just recently moved the office to San Francisco.
Okay, so near Yahoo because you belong to them, no?
Yeah.
They bought you. So Google and Yahoo, they are buying everybody, no? It's everybody who's making a good two points.
Yeah, There's a lot of acquisitions.
Yes,
There's still a lot of interesting stuff out there.
And you would stay here some days in Madrid, or you only come for this speech?
I was originally going to come for a week before to go on a vacation, because I've never been here before, but in the end I didn't. So I have to come back next year.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.